Don't be nervous or anything. Like it's just a conversation, you know.
Yeah.
I ain't I ain't no one special. I'm not the king or queen or something. Maybe I could pull off the queen.
I'll get you a crown next time.
Oh, behave.
My last name is King, so
Oh,
I
there
am
you
royal.
go. Definitely, mate. Like your story's unbelievable. It's gonna bring a tear to my eye. Do you wanna? I'm gonna. Do you wanna? Do you wanna tell us about it?
Well, yeah, I suppose I could. Yeah, what do you want to know? Where do you want me to start?
I guess we're gonna have to start from the beginning.
Okay, so I had an amazing childhood. I met the love of my life. I had a child at 17, and then my kind of world came crashing down because I lost my daughter's father in a car crash, and about a month later, I had my first symptom, unknown to me then that it was a symptom. My big toe curled up and just would not relax. It was quite uncomfortable, quite painful, hard to wear heels.
Hmm.
But yeah, so and then slowly deteriorated. So like balance problems and coordination and things like that. And I kept just brushing it aside and thinking, oh, it's just one of those things you don't really pick up on. And people then started noticing that I was dragging my leg, and I made up a story that I had hit my knee because I just couldn't explain why I was dragging my leg. And I said, oh yeah, I hit my knee doing something I don't know what. And yeah, and then it just gradually got worse and worse and worse. I perfected my penguin dive brilliantly. It was I'm class at penguin dives, honestly. So the falls got a lot worse, and I started quite like hating myself quite a lot. I I projected myself out of the gate one day and like cut all my face and everything. So it was, yeah, it was nasty. But I always find the funny side of things, so it was easy to deal with for me. Um, and then for 16 years, I went diagnosed with ME. Have you ever heard of ME?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit like an umbrella disease. A lot of symptoms go into it, and they said I had the classic ME symptoms, and just said I needed to go to bed for a year and treat it like I had flu, which was not me at all. I'm bounce off the walls hyperactive, so it was hard work for me that. And then it just, yeah, just basically got worse and worse and worse. I had another child in that time, and I don't quite know how I managed to look after him, really. I can remember crawling along the hallway with him on my back because it was just too dangerous to walk with him because I'd fallen over with him. And he's like had proper monkey traits, like just hanging on to me. He was a darling. And of course, my daughter was really helpful with that, and my whole family. And then I then went and got a DVT, a really extensive one, through my leg and into my stomach, and my leg went huge. It was like massive. Um, and that was the turning point where everything went really downhill. I call it, became a cabbage because I couldn't do anything for myself. I couldn't even scratch an itch. Um, I have like quite a little funny story that I read my mum about. So in this time where I was like a cabbage, she put a hot plate on my hands to eat my dinner because I had to be fed and everything. And my speech had completely gone, really. It was like a whisper and it was really feeble from the muscles just not working. And I was trying to shout her to say the bowl was hot and it was burning my hands, and she was in the kitchen and I was going, Ma'am, Ma'am. And no one could hear me. And I rib her about that all the time. I say, well, you burnt your child's hands. But it wasn't like a really bad burn, it was just like a hot plate. And yeah, so things got pretty grim, but we always laughed and we always found everything, the fun in everything. I never missed out on anything. I was always there with the kids, always there with the family. I was always involved with everything, and just always on the chair, sitting there, staring at the wheel go by. Yeah, and then finally the doctors started taking notice that it could be something neurological. It was actually an occupational therapist that came to see me, and she said to my mum, there's something neurologically not right with her. It can't be ME. So she said, I push you to go to see a neurologist. But I had been to see a few neurologists before this, and because I was so young, Parkinson's never came into the equation. Yeah, and then finally we went to see a neurologist privately, and he basically diagnosed me there and then, and gave me the levodopa, and within, I'd say, 4 hours, my mum noticed a difference from taking the medication. She said, you're moving a lot freer and easier. You're easier to handle, because like she had to do everything for me. And said, your arms are moving more. And I was like, I didn't actually feel the difference very much. And then the next tablet I took was the morning, and I rang my brother and he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm walking. And I said, I'm like walking around the house. It was like a miracle, honestly. It was crazy. From being completely relying on everybody else to do everything, not being able to move or not being able to just do anything. Like, it's just mind-blowing to have that movement again. And yeah, and that's pretty much how I got to my diagnosis. But it is hard when you're really young and you're not expected to get an old person's disease, and everything's ruled out, and that was quite frustrating, and trying to prove to people that there was something wrong with me, and also trying to explain what was wrong with you, because they say, oh, what happened? And you say, well, I just fall over. And I couldn't explain why my coordination wasn't working, and I'd say, like, my center of gravity wasn't there. I'd fall forward. And in my video that I've put out on my Instagram, it looks like I headbutt the floor, but I literally just couldn't keep my body up. And things like, my mum used to tie me to the back of a chair because I would just lean forward and basically fall in my dinner. But yeah, that's pretty much the story of where I've got to the diagnosis. And then since then, it's been amazing. I was always really sporty as a youngster, like, because I was not academic whatsoever.
You and me both, mate.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible. I hated school, but I loved the sports side of it. So yeah, I decided I wanted to walk around what we call is the racecourse by us. And I said to my mum, that's my goal. I'm going to get around that racecourse without stopping. It took me 6 weeks to do it. And the pain in my feet when I first started, because obviously I've been in a wheelchair for so long, and I hadn't had any pressure on my feet whatsoever. And I can still, like, even remember that pain so clearly. And I can remember my mum and my daughter's father's mum walking on ahead, and I said, you go on ahead and I'll just go from seat to seat. And it took me hours to get round, but I was so determined to do this. And then 6 weeks, I think it was about 6 weeks, I did it completely without stopping. It took me a long time, and it's only 2K. but it took me forever. And yeah, and from there then I joined like yoga and Pilates and all that. And I'm a bit like, I like a bit of sweat and a bit of intensity.
You're a savage.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you could say that. I said that to my son the other day. I'm a savage. And he
100%
did.
you are, mate.
He laughed. He said, "Don't ever use that word." But yeah. So I started going to like, I can remember taking my daughter to it was called 60 Minutes of Torture. And it was just a cardio class. Oh, I came out of there buzzing, couldn't do any of the moves whatsoever. I was flailing around like a yahoo. And yeah, but I loved it. The feeling after I suppose the things that get released in your brain just did me the world of good. And yeah, and then I went to fitness classes over and over again. I got a bit like every day I'd go and do something. I'd be walking the dog loads but I was on a bit of a time scale at that point because I was under the belief, I can't remember if I read this or whether I was told this. I have no recollection of how I found out. But the medication in Parkinson's, you get used to it. And I was read or told that in 5 years' time, the medication wouldn't work. So I was like, oh gosh, I've got 5 years to get everything I want to do in life in that 5 years. So I achieved quite a lot in that 5 years. I am always been a bit of a stubborn cow and determined.
Well, you're British, right?
Yeah. So sorry, I've lost where I am. Yeah, 5 years, that's it. 5 years. So I decided that I'd joke to my doctor and say, I'm going to do a triathlon. And he said, oh, you can't do that. You physically couldn't do it. And I went, worst thing you could have said to me. And if anyone says you can't do something, you just have to, don't you? You really do. And I proved him wrong. And I did my first triathlon a year later. And it was one of the hardest ones, actually, I've heard recently. The Broadhaven Triathlon, the Pembrokeshire Triathlon. I'm pointing down there like it's down the road. I'm sorry. Yeah, and so I did that, and I went on to do 2 more, and I had great joy in taking my little t-shirt into the doctor's surgery, like poking it around the door and saying, I did it, I did this. It is possible, and that's where my motto, anything is possible, comes from. Because it really is. If you put your mind to anything is possible. You've just got to work hard and keep going at it. So in going back to the 5 years, I missed out on a lot of what I wanted to be as a mother. So like taking your children on holiday, taking that for granted and things. So I took my children away for the first time on my own, which was amazing. We had the best time. And we did like lots of day things before we went to make sure I could cope with the whole time. And then we climbed Snowdon. We did Pen y Fan. We did that, that zip wire, the really fast one. Scary as, but I totally recommend, but really scary. I actually looked over at my son halfway down the zip wire, and my cradle like wobbled, and I was like, oh my God, this is it, I'm gonna die. But I didn't, obviously I'm still here. But yeah, so I did that, and we did like underground trampolining. There was loads of things that I just wanted to have fun because I had missed out on my 20s and 30s, really, my early 30s. But yeah, and then of course I went on with my fitness and exercise side of it. And then I found CrossFit. And that was just the beginning of a whole new thing. It was just amazing. I found what I've been missing all my life. I wish I found it so many years before, even in the wheelchair. I think you're still capable of doing something, like even if they have to assist you. CrossFit is an amazing thing, like the scaling of it and the difference, and yeah, it's just mind-blowing, to be honest. And I have the most patient and supportive of coaches, Sam Fennick. She has to have the patience of a saint to put up with me, but she is amazing, and she's really brought me on like leaps and bounds and given me the confidence to accept who I am and accept that this is me. I do have shaky legs, and I do drop things, and I do fall over, and it's like the community of it, everything. I just found my thing, and it's just amazing. And it was also my daughter that pushed me to go to CrossFit. I can still remember the first time I went to a session. I had a panic attack before I went in and was like, I can't do this. Look, they're all so strong and they're all so fit. And yeah, but I that first time I turned around and went home and thought, oh, you don't be so silly. This is crazy. You want to do this. You want to push your body. You want to see what you're capable of. And I went the following day and never looked back. So yeah, that's really as far as my story goes.
That's absolutely so special, and hearing that you found CrossFit and then found your space, found your place and your home and your people, right? And your community just lights me up.
And they're just amazing, aren't they? I think anywhere you go, like my daughter's in Cardiff now, and I go to their gym sometimes, and it's just like all the same people. They just encourage you, and they just support you. And even if you're like the weakest of the weak, they still like bump you up and go, yes, come on, you can do it. And you push yourself that much further. It's it's like a little family, isn't it, really?
Yeah, 100%. It's like a wider family, but worldwide, right? Like of like-minded people. It sounds so cliche, but we walk into the gym for the same reasons. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you're like perfecting a box jump today. I was like, cool. I remember when I was there, And
Yeah.
then you get people at the bottom kind of looking over and it's like, oh, you're doing like pull-ups. That's really cool. Like, I want to be like that. And everybody's just there hugging and high-fiving and
Yeah, and even if you do terrible in the workout, they still fist pump you, and you're like, yeah, I did it. I actually got to the end of it. Like, I think that's the thing with CrossFit. It's so many skills to learn and so much difference. It's always changed. Like Sam is fantastic at programming. She does like it's always different. Always like you never go and do the same thing. You can never get bored. I love it. I am ever so slightly addicted, I think.
like we said, you're a savage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like CrossFit is so special because we just use physical tools and implements, right, to be able to attack mental barriers. Like no matter who
Yeah.
you are, we've all got something in our head that we're kind of listening to, which we shouldn't be, right? And it's like, oh, I'm a little bit anxious, or I can't do this, or this isn't my place, or whatever it might be, right? And you go in, and as CrossFit coaches, as a box, as a community, we just give you a barbell and call it a thruster, or tell you to slam your chest on the floor and get up and clap your hands like a lunatic and call it a burpee, right? And
Yeah.
we do this, yeah, okay, it makes you a little bit fitter and you look good naked, fantastic. But it's like, no, you face your own barriers, you face your own demons, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you walk out, like you said, you said that C word, that confidence. And you
Yeah.
walk out, your chest is high, your eyes are up, it's just on the horizon, and you're just like, these people are badasses. They're gonna go into their
Definitely.
life just ready to roll.
And I do think it's the community feeling as well, that you belong somewhere. Because I've always been a bit of an outsider, and just I don't know whether that's because I was ill for so long, and like I had my little group of friends, and that's pretty much where I stayed. And but you just feel accepted straight away,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's just fantastic. I can't blow their trumpet enough, really.
Oh, I absolutely love hearing stories like that, man. You know, that's why we'll get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and then go coach a morning class, right?
Yeah.
All weary
It's
eyed.
bonkers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, what are you doing trying to do some fitness at this time? But I guess I
Yeah.
can teach you how to med ball clean, I guess.
But you get excited about it as well. Like I get really excited about going to the class, and if I have to have rest days, oh, I'm not the nicest person to be around. Like I have to force myself to have a rest day.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're all there, right? It's like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
not I'm not spending an hour and a half in the gym. What am I supposed to do with my day? You know,
yeah.
it's like there's
There's
24
only
hours
an
in
hour
that
and
day, man. Yeah.
crazy, crazy way to think. But yeah, I never thought I'd actually be like that. But yeah, I'm actually living the dream
Oh man, amazing. Has CrossFit impacted your Parkinson's?
massively. So I was talking to my daughter last night about this, how to explain how it has affected my Parkinson's. I feel like it's the high intensity. I don't want to put people off by saying it's high intensity, but the high intensity and having to think about what you're doing, the moves you're doing. Um, I think that helps my messages from my brain get to my muscles quicker. That has definitely improved. Like, don't get me wrong, I still have quite a lot of symptoms. Um, and but it's I don't the strength side of it is massively helped. But then talking to my doctor the other day, he said Parkinson's doesn't actually affect the strength side of you. So you can be as strong as you like, but because the messages from my brain don't get to the places they're meant to be, that's what causes the symptoms, like the shaky legs and all that. Um, I love my shaky legs, by the way. They're like me. That's where my name comes from, Fuzzy Jules. I always joke about my legs, and like when I meet people for the first time, I get quite nervous and quite excited. But my legs show it more than anything else. So I say, "Oh, my legs will be delighted to see you." Yeah, so I do. I just think CrossFit has helped my symptoms as well as the confidence to be
Yeah.
a Parkinson sufferer. If that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. You know, like that confidence is the initial barrier. You know, it's either
Mm.
gonna make you shy away or stand up and face the world, right?
Yeah, like acceptance, isn't it?
Yeah, too right.
Because it is quite hard to accept that you look different from everyone else. I hate the word normal because no one's normal. I'm far, far, far from it. Um, but I think that's what CrossFit has done for me, helped me accept that this is me, this is who I am. And if you don't like it, then don't have to look at it or spend time with it. It's just, yeah, it's given me the confidence to accept that I am who I am.
Mm. I think that's what one of the reasons why CrossFit is so special, right? Because there's some like characteristics that you can point out and be like, I think they're a CrossFitter, right? They might have a little bit wider shoulders, or they're always fucking doing handstands in the middle of a tube or something, right? And talking
You
about
can
something
so
called
see
Fran.
them, yeah.
You know, you're like, what's going on here? Like, you know, snatch and jerking. It's a rather a weird thing to be throwing around
Yeah,
in everyday life, but
yeah.
you know, you get the average quote unquote CrossFitter and you line them all up in a line. They look so different, you know, so there is no normal. And these people just then
Um,
go into this thing that we call a box, right? Which is just four walls with some like weapons in there. And they start throwing it above their heads. They start running around, stripping shirts off. You're like, what is this? Is this like Rome and the gladiators? And they all give each
oh,
other
that'd be
sweaty looks.
awesome.
It's
We should
mental.
call it, rename it CrossFit Gladiators.
Oh, maybe that's already an affiliate. Maybe we should open a box.
That is a good shout. That is a really good shout.
I'm in. I got 50 pence.
10 pence, would that help?
Yeah, let's do it. You know, walk in. Hey, guys.
Yeah. I'm not sure about walking in there. My legs would struggle with that, but
But it's all right. You know, we got a story.
Well, and also the people that came to our box would be welcomed by my excited legs.
There you go. We're in.
They'd be like, show us how to do this, and I'd fall flat on the floor.
Is that the way we do it?
But
Yeah,
it's just
100%.
another version of a burpee, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I say it all the time. We can fall down and get up when we're drunk. You know what I mean? So you can do it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, saying that the drunk, I've had quite a lot of judgmental comments thrown my way in the time that I've been diagnosed, because the medication causes something called dyskinesia, which is uncontrollable movement. So I don't know if you can hear. I've tried to find the quietest chair in my house to sit on, but my legs are going bonkers right now, and they just don't stop moving. And they do have times where they chill, but any kind of stress or excitement or nerves or anything like that, my body reacts before my head does. So I there's a message I really like to get across to people is, don't judge people by what you see, because I was in the Boots pharmacy line, and someone called me a druggie because I couldn't control my legs, and it wasn't nice at the time. And my poor brother got the phone call after, oh my God, do I really look like a druggie? And I just think you should never judge someone until you've walked like a mile in their shoes. Yeah, but when you do go on a night out, though, you do blend in to the drunks and all that, which is great, because you don't even have to drink. You can just like, well, hey, I'm just like you guys. But yeah, it is I really would like to get that message out there, that you should never judge somebody by what you see. You really don't know what that person's going through. And yeah, I'm I feel quite strongly about that.
That's beautiful, man. You and me both, you know. That's why I do this thing, you know, just ask somebody's perspective and hey, what's your story? Like talk to me, you know, because I'm only ever gonna see it from my perspective. You know, I'm not gonna see it through your eyes. And unfortunately, we try and live in this world where we put blinkers on. And yeah, okay, we're the main character of our own story, but there's also nearly 8 billion main stories on this planet, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just give somebody else 2 seconds of your time or maybe a single thought and be like, hey, this lady might be dealing with something. Okay, cool.
Or just smile.
Or just smile. It's the most
Smile.
infectious thing in the planet, right?
I can make someone's day.
Mm.
Because when I was in the wheelchair, we went to see a ballet, and I was in the wheelchair, and this woman came over and was talking to me as if I was stupid.
Mm.
Did you have a nice time? And I just looked there and I thought, you only had to smile at me.
Mm.
And that would have made my day. And then we were laughing about it. That's what our family does. We laugh at a lot of things. And yeah, and I think if people just smile rather than, I want to say frown, but I don't think that's the right word. Like, just, when you look at someone and you're curious of what's happening, just smile and everything seems that much better.
100%, mate. You know, we say the same thing. I work up down in New Zealand with people living with disabilities, right? And if they come in their power chairs and non-verbal, and they got a support worker there, and sometimes you get volunteers, sometimes you get somebody passing, right, who's in the gym. They're like, "How do I act?" I was like normal. Like,
Yeah,
what do you mean? How do
totally.
you act like a normal person? You know,
Yeah,
talk to them.
totally agree with that. And because at the end of the day, they are a human and they are people and they have feelings.
Yeah, for sure. Just because they're not communicating verbally does not mean they're not communicating. You know, we just
Yeah.
rely heavily on this verbal communication, which is great to an extent, right? You know, there's language barriers and all that, fantastic. But I think there's other ways, you know, and sign language is a great example, and also just communicating via your eyes. I think the eyes are a gateway to someone's soul, and you just look
Oh,
at someone, give them a smile, you're like, I know exactly how this human being is feeling. I was like, great, I don't have to rely on my senseless words.
because it must be awful. Like, I've had the feeling myself from being in a wheelchair. To be ignored, like, you know, when you speak to the support worker or something and you just ignore the person in the chair. I think that's so disrespectful. Like, they're still there. That, you know, you've got to involve them. I'm a great believer in that. I just think everyone's equal.
For sure. 100%. You know, walk through that door, we're all on the same page. You know, who am I to judge at the end of the day? I'm not no angel.
Yeah. Maybe it's been what I've been through is why I'm not very judgy. My upbringing, we've never been a judgmental family. We've been a really close, supportive network for each other. Yeah, it's yeah.
I think it's so important, you know. We're already, if you judge, you're already throwing out a negative, you know, emotion or connotations towards somebody, and we're creating this clash, right? It's like, where's the synergy between people? That's what community is. You know, we created
And
cities.
yeah, and that's where CrossFit is amazing for that.
There we go.
Acceptance, isn't it?
100%. Yeah, whoever you are, come on in. You're a recovering addict. You know, you used to play pro football. You know, you're doing CrossFit for the first time at 80 years old, or you're 7. It doesn't matter. Come on in. You know, it's cool.
Imagine that, starting CrossFit at 80. That'd be insane.
Oh, I've had some oldies. Yeah, I've had some oldies. That's really cool.
You could go into the nursing home like showing your guns off.
Yeah, well, they won't be in there, right? They'll be at home, like,
No,
lifting
yeah,
things
that's
up.
very true. That's very true. Yeah. That's it. I don't be I'm not sure if there's more you want to know about my story. I've just kind of like flew through it a bit. I'm trying to think of things that would just be a good message to get across.
Well, I got a question.
Go for it.
What's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
Never give up, from my mum.
What's the worst piece of life advice you ever received?
I don't think I've actually been given the worst advice.
Not yet.
Yeah, I've still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Maybe like enjoy school, because I hated school.
Yeah. Oh, God damn.
No, like make the most of it. They're your best days, but they're not for everyone. I think not the worst advice, but along the lines of, don't say to people that you can't do things, because you're capable of a lot more than you give yourself credit for. Like, my doctor is saying I can't do the triathlon. It's just that I proved to him that you can. I think that's probably the worst advice you could give someone, telling them they can't do something.
100%. 100% agree. I got one more question though.
Go for it.
What's 3 words you'd tell your younger self?
Okay, there's loads. The main one is quite funny. You've got Parkinsons.
Yeah, that might have helped.
Yeah, might well have helped. No, my main 3 words are don't judge anyone. Live life to the full, and be grateful for where you are and what you have at that time. You never know what will happen.
Jules, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I waffled.
No. You do your thing. You know, it's an absolute honor just to listen to you talk, mate.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You know, I will be down in Wales this week. I'll come get a workout in with you.
Whereabouts in Wales are you?
I think I'm going west.
Yes, come down and have a workout with us.
Yeah, I will. You'll still beat me though. I'm a little bit unfit.
Oh, that's good. I like to beat people. I'm slightly competitive.
You're supposed to give me some encouragement here, Jules.
No, you won't. You'll kick my ass. Don't worry.
No, I give over.
But my legs will kick yours.
Yeah, getting up from a burpee probably.
Yeah, they'll be like a flying leg.
Yeah.
Uncontrollable movement.
That sounds like a good time.
if you go for a run, my legs will accidentally kick you over and you just have to be, no, I'm joking. Sorry.
If I go for a run, I don't run, boss.
No. What is it about people that like running? They're just insane.
They were dropped on their head at birth. Something is a little bit off.
200 meters, that's my distance. That's as far as I'll go.
As far as where I am to the ice cream van, that's where I'll run.
Yeah, they threw a run in Marbella Championship. And I was like, oh, that's just cruel. So in the feedback they gave us for us to fill in after, I just said, they said, anything you would change? And I said, just don't put a run in.
Legend.
Leave the run.
Mate, thank you. I'll see you this week.
Yes.
All right.
Brilliant.
Have a great day. Thank you, boss.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.